The sky above the dead planet was dark and full of broken stars. A cold wind moved across the empty land, carrying dust and old memories. The ground was cracked, and strange ruins stood like bones from a forgotten world. This place was once the heart of a great alien empire. Now it was silent. In the center of the ruins was a vault made of black stone. It had stood for thousands of years, untouched by time. Inside it, a blade rested on a floating platform. The blade was long, thin, and glowed faintly with a purple light. Many had tried to touch it. All had failed. The vault's records showed the deaths of warriors, priests, scientists, and even rulers. The blade did not allow itself to be held. They called it the Blade of Sorrow, a human spaceship. The Starfinder landed near the ruins. Dust flew into the air as its engines slowed to a stop. The crew stepped out, wearing light armor and scanning. The area, Captain Luke Carver, led the team. He was strong, careful, and always calm under pressure. His second in command, Melanie Brooks, was a smart and quiet woman who studied alien languages. "This place feels heavy," Melanie said as she looked at the ruins. Luke nodded. "Stay sharp. We don't know what's still active down here." They were sent by the United Terran Exploration Corps to study lost alien worlds. The planet, called Velar Prime, was marked as high risk. The chance to study the ancient vault was too important to ignore. As the team set up their camp near the vault, they found strange carvings on the walls. Melanie spent hours translating the symbols. They told of a weapon that brought sorrow and death, a blade made during a great war. It could cut through any armor, destroy any enemy. But it had a curse. Whoever tried to control it would lose their mind or their life. An alien crew member, Saron, who came from the Gorel species, warned them. "My people once sent a prince to take the blade. He never came back. This place is not for the living." Luke listened, but decided to continue. They would not touch the blade. They would only study it. That night, Luke had a dream. He stood in front of the blade. It was glowing brighter than before. He reached out, and it welcomed him. A voice whispered in his mind. It was not words, but a feeling. Like the blade knew him. He woke up sweating. The next day, the team entered the vault carefully. Lights moved across the dark stone. The air was cold and thick. At the center of the chamber, the Blade of Sorrow floated quietly. "There it is," Melanie said, eyes wide. "It's beautiful and deadly." Luke replied, "Remember, no one touches it." As they ran scans, the machines picked up strange energy. The blade seemed to pulse when Luke came close. The others noticed. "Captain," said another human crew member, "Jordan, it reacts to you. Only to you." "That doesn't mean anything yet," Luke said, though he felt the pull in his chest. Later, while the team was outside preparing new equipment, a young alien technician sneaked into the vault. He wanted to be the first to understand the blade's secrets. He reached out and touched it. There was a flash of light, a scream, then silence. The team rushed in. There was nothing left of the technician, only ash. "He tried to take it," Saran said, shaking. "Like the others. The blade destroys those who are not worthy." Luke stared at the blade. It was glowing again. It's brighter now. A sudden quake shook the vault. Energy sparked from the walls. Defense system had activated. The roof began to crack. "We need to shut it down," Melanie shouted. The control panel had shorted out. The system was going to collapse the vault. Luke looked at the blade. Something told him he had no choice. He stepped forward, reached out, and took the hilt. There was no pain, no burning. The blade fit perfectly in his hand. Light filled the room. Shaking stopped. The vault went silent. The team stood frozen. "Luke, you touched it," Melanie whispered. He looked at her. "It let me." The blade changed color, turning silver blue. It was no longer the Blade of Sorrow. It had chosen him. Across the galaxy, sensors picked up the energy surge. Signals were sent. Warnings triggered. In a dark chamber far away, a sleeping figure opened its eyes. The blade had been touched, and everything was about to change. Asterisk. The air around the vault was still. No one spoke for a long time. The glow from the blade had faded. but the memory of what had happened stayed in everyone's mind. Luke Carver had held the blade of sorrow, and he was still alive. Melanie Brooks stayed close to Luke. She looked at the blade in his hand, then at his face. "You should be dead," she said quietly. Luke nodded. "I know, but I'm not." They walked out of the vault together. The rest of the team followed, confused and afraid. News of what happened spread fast through the camp. Some of the alien workers refused to go near the vault again. They packed their things and left without a word. The next morning, Melanie sat in front of a large screen. She was going through the old writings from the vault. Her fingers moved quickly over the keys. Luke came in holding the blade now wrapped in special fabric. "Any luck, maybe?" Melanie said. "These markings are not just warnings. They're part of a story, a very old story." She showed him a section of writing. "This says the blade was forged in a time before stars, by beings not like any we know. They used it to fight a great enemy, but the weapon turned on them. Yes, it was too powerful. It needed a certain kind of mind to control it. Something about balance between reason and instinct." Luke frowned. "So that's why the aliens failed. They didn't have the right kind of mind." Melanie nodded. "Maybe, and maybe humans do." That same day, an old alien arrived at the camp. He was tall, thin, and walked with a silver staff. His skin was deep red, and his eyes were almost white. He said his name was Kareth. He asked to speak to the human, touched the blade. Luke met him outside the vault. Kareth bowed his head. "The blade has chosen you. That is a problem." "Why is it a problem?" Luke asked. Kareth pointed at the sky. "'Cause now others will come. Some will want the blade. Others will want to destroy you. You do not understand what you hold." "Then help me understand," Luke said. Kareth looked at him for a long time. Then he spoke slowly. "The blade was never meant for aliens. Long ago, a powerful race made it. They feared something terrible, force that could not be stopped, so they made a weapon and a plan. They knew that only one kind of being could carry it. Humans," Melanie said, stepping forward. Kareth nodded. "Your kind did not exist then, but you were planned, built into the future. The blade has been waiting." Luke looked down at the wrapped weapon. "Waiting for me." Kareth turned away. "The blade chooses, but it also brings war. You must leave. This planet, others have already heard." By nightfall, their ship picked up strange signals from deep space. Probes sent by other factions were closing in. Alien governments, warlords, and collectors all wanted the blade. Some wanted to take it. Others feared it. The team held a meeting. Tension filled the room. "We can't just run," Jordan said. "This is the biggest discovery in human history." "We can't fight everyone," Melanie replied. "We have no backup, no help." Luke stood up. "We leave tonight. Load the data. Secure the blade. We'll figure out the rest later." The crew worked fast. By the time the enemy probes entered orbit, the Starfinder had already launched into space, but trouble followed them. 3 alien ships blocked their path. One of them, a black vessel with sharp wings, sent a message. "Human vessel. You carry a weapon that does not belong to you. Power must be controlled. Surrender the blade or be destroyed." Luke looked at Melanie. "Right time to find out what this thing can really do." He unwrapped the blade. It began to glow again, as if it knew a battle was near. He walked to the ship's weapon bay. The blade pulsed and sent a wave of energy through the ship. The alien ships fired, but a blue shield surrounded the Starfinder. The attacks bounced off. Melanie stared at the screen. "The blade is protecting us. It's not just a weapon, it's alive." Luke moved the blade in the air, and a beam of light shot from it, slicing one of the enemy ships in half. The others backed off and jumped away. "They'll be back," Jordan said. Luke nodded. "Yes, with more." The Starfinder jumped into hyperspace. For now, they were safe. Later in his quarters, Luke stared at the blade. It sat on a table, quiet now. Melanie entered. "I've been thinking. Maybe the blade didn't just choose you. Maybe it needs you." Luke looked up. "Why?" "'Cause something worse is coming, and you might be the only one who can stop it." Luke said nothing. But deep inside, he felt. It too, the blade was waiting, and so was something else. Asterisk. Asterisk, the Starfinder moved through deep space, far from any safe system. The stars outside the windows looked cold and endless. Inside, the crew tried to stay focused, but they all felt the same thing, fear. The blade had saved them, but now they were being hunted. Luke Carver sat in the command chair, the blade resting beside him in a locked case. He hadn't touched it since the last battle, but he still felt it in his mind, like a whisper that never stopped. Melanie Brooks entered the room, holding a tablet. "I've gone through the rest of the vault data. There's more about the blade." Luke looked at her. "Good or bad?" "Both," she said. "The blade is not just a weapon. It's a tool for unlocking ancient memories. It holds the past. And maybe the future." Luke leaned forward. "What else?" Melanie sat across from him. "I found a story written in symbols. It talks about a race that lived before time. They made the blade to fight something they couldn't understand, something they couldn't kill. They called it the Void Father." Luke frowned. "What is that?" "I don't know. But they believed it would come back. When it did, someone would need to stand against it." "With the blade?" Luke looked at the case. "So this is a key, or a lock?" Melanie nodded. "Maybe." Both. At that moment, alarms went off. Jordan ran into the command center. "We've got incoming. 2 ships behind us. Big ones."
Oh.
Luke stood up. "Battle ready. Get us moving." The Starfinder turned sharply in space, its engines burning bright. The enemy ships followed. Red lights flashed across the screens. The crew worked fast. Luke opened the case and picked up the blade. The moment he touched it, the lights in the ship brightened. The energy in the air changed. The blade pulsed like a heart. He walked to the center of the ship. The blade extended itself, glowing brighter. Protective shield spread across the hull. Enemy fire hit them, but bounced off again. Jordan shouted, "The shield's stronger than last time. It's learning." Luke pointed the blade toward the screen. "Then let's teach it more." A beam of light shot out. It didn't destroy the enemy ships, but it froze them in place. Systems locked, weapons shut down. Melanie watched the readings. "You stopped them without killing them." The blade can control machines too. The Starfinder escaped again. Later, in a quiet room, Luke tried to rest. The blade stood on a table nearby. He could feel its energy. It wasn't just a tool. It was alive in some way. He closed his eyes and dreamed. He stood in a place of light and shadow. Around him were figures tall, glowing beings with no faces. One stepped forward and touched the blade. "You are not the first," it said in a voice like thunder. "Who are you?" Luke asked. "The ones who made the blade. We left it for you. You must learn to control it. If not, it will consume you." Luke woke up gasping. The next morning, the ship reached a hidden station in deep space. It was an old human base, now empty. They docked to rest and gather supplies. While there, they met someone unexpected. A man named Cole, a former admiral of Earth's Navy. He had gone missing years ago. "You're the one holding the blade," Cole said when he saw Luke. Luke nodded. "How do you know?" Cole looked serious. "'Cause I once tried to find it. I got close. Close enough to feel its danger. I wasn't chosen." "Why are you here?" Melanie asked. Cole replied, "To warn you. The blade has awakened something. Old things are stirring, and one of them is the Void Father." Luke's face turned hard. "Then tell me where to go." "How do we stop it?" Cole sighed. "There's only one place that holds the answers. A planet called Solkareth. It was the Forge, the place where the blade was born." "Can we get there?" Luke asked. "Yes," Cole said. "But not without a fight." Luke looked at his team, then, "Let's get ready." They left the station that night. The stars outside felt closer. The journey to Solkareth had begun, and, deep in space, far beyond any map, something opened its eyes. The blade had called, and the Void Father was listening. Asterisk. The ship moved through the quiet path between stars. The journey to Sol Kerith was long, but the crew of the Starfinder stayed focused. They had all seen what the blade could do. Now they were ready to find out why it had chosen Luke Carver. Luke stood in the training bay. He held the blade in both hands. It no longer felt heavy. Each time he used it, the weapon felt more natural, like it was a part of him. He swung it slowly, letting it hum with energy. Melanie watched from the side. "It's changing you," she said. Luke nodded. "I feel it, like it knows what I'm thinking." "Is that a good thing?" "I'm not sure," Luke replied. "But it doesn't feel evil. It feels ... old, like it remembers everything." Melanie stepped closer. "I've been studying more of the vault texts. They say the blade was not only a weapon, but a guide. It can lead the right person to the truth." Luke lowered the blade. "Then we follow it." A sudden alert rang through the ship. Jordan's voice came over the speaker. "Captain, we have a problem. You need to see this. In the command center." The crew stared at the screen. A small group of alien ships had formed a blockade in front of Sol Kerith's coordinates. "They're from the Zarin Syndicate." Jordan said, "Pirates. Looks like they were paid to stop anyone from reaching the planet." "Paid by who?" Melanie asked. "Doesn't matter," Luke said. "We're going through." The ship jumped into battle mode. Engines roared and shields came. Online, the blade pulsed in Luke's hand as he stood near the control panel. The pirates attacked first. Lasers shot through space. Starfinder moved fast, dodging fire and returning shots. The crew worked as one. Luke used the blade to boost the ship's shields. A wave of energy pushed back the enemy fire. Then Luke did something new. He focused the blade on one of the ships. A strange light passed through the air, and the enemy ship shut down without a sound. Melanie gasped. "You stopped its systems, without touching it." Luke nodded. "I didn't even know I could do that." The other pirate ships saw what happened. They turned and ran. The path to Sol Kerith was open. The planet came into view. It was dark, covered in mountains and old cities built into the rock. The ship landed on a high platform. Wind rushed past them as they stepped out. The air was thin and cold. The ruins were silent, but full of strange lights. As they moved deeper into the city, the blade began to glow again. It led Luke down a long path to a tall tower. Inside, they found a chamber with glowing walls. Symbols moved like water across the stone. At the center stood a metal pillar. Luke stepped forward. The blade pulled him closer. When he touched the pillar with the tip of the blade, the room came alive. A bright light filled the space. Holograms appeared, images of a great war in the past. Huge beings fought against a creature made of shadow. Planets burned. Stars died. Melanie stepped closer. That must be the Void Father. One of the glowing beings in the hologram held the same blade. He stood alone against the shadow, and with one final strike, both vanished. The images ended. Luke dropped to one knee, breathing hard. The blade had shown him everything. He looked up. The blade is not just a weapon. It's a memory. It remembers the one who last held it. He sacrificed himself to trap the Void Father. And now, ... it's my turn. Melanie shook her head. No. There must be another way. Before they could speak more, a loud sound echoed through the chamber. The floor shook. From the shadows stepped a tall figure. It wore black armor, and its eyes glowed red. Behind it, others followed. "They followed us," Jordan said, raising his weapon. The lead enemy spoke. "The blade belongs to no one. Give it to us, or we take it from your body." Luke stood up slowly. The blade glowed brighter. "You can try," he said. The fight was fast and brutal. The enemies were strong, but the blade was stronger. Luke moved like lightning, blocking attacks and striking back with power and speed. The blade seemed to guide his hands. Melanie and Jordan helped from the side, covering Luke and keeping the others away. The battle ended with the enemy leader lying broken at Luke's feet. He looked down. "You came for the blade, but you didn't understand it." The enemy whispered the Void Father. "It's waking." Then he died. Luke looked at his friends. "It's time to leave. We have what we came for. Back on the ship, Luke sat alone with the blade. Melanie entered quietly. You saw everything in that chamber, didn't you? She asked. Luke nodded. Yes, and now I know what's coming. The blade didn't just choose me, it warned me. Melanie sat beside him. Then we prepare. Luke looked at the stars outside. He didn't speak. But inside, he knew the truth. The final battle was coming, and the blade was ready. The Starfinder flew through dark space. The ship was quiet, but inside, every person felt the weight of what they had seen on Solkareth. The blade was more than a weapon. It was a warning, a guide, and a key. Luke Carver now understood what he carried and what it meant. Luke stood near the front window, watching the stars pass. The blade was on the table beside him. It glowed softly, calm for now. Melanie joined him. We've found what we needed, but I think this is just the beginning. Nodded. You're right. We didn't stop anything. We only woke it up. She looked at the blade. The Void Father, still out there. And now it knows you're holding the blade. A soft alarm rang through the ship. Jordan's voice came over the speaker. Captain, we're getting a strange signal. It's old, really old. Luke and Melanie walked to the command center. The crew gathered around the main screen. Broken signal played over and over, static mixed with words in a forgotten language. Melanie listened closely. Her eyes went wide. It's a human signal. From 200 years ago? A human ship? Luke asked. Yes. A ship that went missing before Earth joined the Galactic Council. The signal's coming from the Dead Reach. Everyone went silent. The Dead Reach was a cursed part of space. No ships returned from it. Luke looked at the screen. Set course. We're going. Jordan stared at him. You sure? That place eats ships. Luke pointed at the blade. This one might have answers, and we need all the help we can get. The ship moved into the Dead Reach. The space around them grew darker. Stars faded. The air felt heavy, even though they were in space. Hours passed. Then they found it. A massive ship floated ahead, covered in ice and metal scars. Its name barely showed on the side. UTS Horizon. They docked slowly. Lights flickered on the ship, even after 200 years. Luke, Melanie, and Jordan entered the cold hallway with weapons ready. Inside, the air was stale. The lights worked, but barely. Everything was frozen in time. They moved deeper into the ship and found something strange. The crew, still there. Bodies were perfectly preserved, as if they had just fallen asleep. Their eyes were open, and their faces full of fear. This place is wrong, Jordan said. They reached the command deck. In the center was a black mark burned into the floor. The blade in Luke's hand began to shake. It happened here, he said. The Void Father reached them. What? Melanie studied a broken console. The logs are corrupted, but I can see pieces. What? They found something out here. A gate. A door to something ancient. They tried to study it. Then the voices started. Voices, Jordan asked. Whispers in their heads. Dreams. Then they started hurting each other. Some vanished. Some just stopped breathing. Luke touched the mark on the floor, his mind filled with images. A giant shadow behind a gate of stars. A voice made of nothing. One word repeated. Return. He pulled back, shaking. Calling at once the blade. Suddenly, the ship shook. Power systems flared. Deep sound filled the air, low and cold. Melanie backed away from the console. It's not dead. Something's still here. The hallway lights went out. The shadows' shapes began to move. Figures of the Horizon's crew, twisted and hollow, stepped forward. Back to the ship, Luke ordered. They ran through the halls, fighting the things that were once human. The blade glowed bright, burning the darkness away. Each swing of the blade cleared the path. They made it back to the Starfinder and took off quickly. Back in space. They watched as the horizon broke apart. Black mist spread from its core and vanished into the stars. Luke dropped into his chair, tired. We need answers. Now? Melanie sat beside him. It's that gate they found. Maybe that's where the Void Father's coming from. And maybe we can find it first. Jordan checked the maps. There's one place that knows where every gate is hidden, the archive world. Luke stood. Then that's our next stop. Far behind them, in the dark corner of space, something had noticed them. The blade was lit. The Chosen had been found, and the Void Father was coming. Asterisk, the archive world was not on any common map. It floated in a silent corner of the galaxy, surrounded by broken moons and drifting metal. Long ago it was a place of knowledge, run by the Keepers, a quiet group of beings, who protected the oldest secrets of the stars. The Starfinder reached it after days of travel. The planet below was gray and silent. Towers rose from the ground like fingers reaching for the sky. Many were broken. Some still glowed with power. Luke stood in the command center of the ship. The blade was in his hand, warm and steady. "This place looks dead," Jordan said. Melanie replied, "It may look dead, but knowledge never dies. The Keepers left things behind, things we need." They landed near the tallest tower. The team moved slowly, weapons ready. The wind carried strange sounds like whispers in a forgotten tongue. Inside the tower, glowing symbols floated in the air. As they walked deeper, a soft light followed them. The tower welcomed them, as if it knew why they had come. A voice echoed in the chamber. It was not loud, but it filled every corner. "Blade-bearer, you have come at last." A hologram appeared. It was not human or alien. It was something older, built from energy and light. "I am Keeper Solon," the figure said. "I have waited many lifetimes for the one who carries the blade of memory." Luke stepped forward. "I need to find the gate." "The one the Void Father is using." The Keeper nodded. "Then you must see what came before." Light filled the room. Luke saw the past thousands of years ago, a great war between the Creators and the Void Father. The Creators built the blade to stop him. The blade was meant to hold both destruction and hope. The Void Father was not a god, but a being from the space between stars. He fed on life, on light, on memory. The blade was used once to stop him, but it did not destroy him. It trapped him. "Behind a gate, the gate is breaking," the Keeper said, "and the blade must seal it again." Melanie looked worried. "Where is the gate?" The Keeper turned to her. "It rests in the hollow star, a place lost to all maps. But the blade remembers." The blade in Luke's hand glowed brighter. "It hummed with energy," Jordan said. "So we follow the blade to this hollow star." The Keeper spoke again. "There is more. The blade's power is not complete. It needs to awaken fully. Do that, it must face what it fears." Luke asked, "What does it fear?" The Keeper raised one hand. A new vision formed. Luke saw himself standing on a battlefield. Around him were the bodies of his friends. The blade in his hand was covered in fire and blood. Melanie reached for him. "Luke," he gasped and pulled back. The Keeper spoke softly. "If the blade loses your heart, it will turn to shadow. You must remain yourself. Only then will you be strong enough." Luke nodded slowly. "I understand." Suddenly a loud sound echoed through the tower. Alarms. Lights blinked red. "They found us," Jordan said. Enemy ships entered the sky above. They were not pirates or soldiers. They were something new. Ships made of black stone and living metal. The Keeper looked up. "The herald has come." On the surface, a figure stepped from a ship. It was tall, wearing armor made of bones and light. It held no weapon, but the ground burned where it walked. Luke, Melanie, and Jordan ran outside. The blade pulsed in Luke's hand. The herald spoke in a voice that hurt the air. "You carry what is mine. Give it, or be unmade." Luke lifted the blade. "Come take it." The battle was fast and full of power. The herald moved like lightning, striking with waves of dark energy. Luke blocked the attacks, each strike shaking his bones. Melanie shouted warnings. Jordan fired from a distance, but the herald was strong. Luke closed his eyes and let the blade guide him. He moved with new speed, striking the herald across the chest. The blade sang. The herald screamed. They fought across the broken ground. The tower behind them cracked and burned. Finally, Luke drove the blade deep into the herald's chest. Light exploded from the wound. The herald fell back, broken and fading. "You delay the end," the herald whispered. "He is coming," then it vanished. Luke fell to his knees. The blade dimmed, but its core now glowed pure white. Melanie ran to him. "You did it." Luke looked up. That was only the beginning. The Void Father's close. Returned. The blade is now ready. Go to the Hollow Star. Seal the gate, or all will be lost. The Starfinder left the archive world behind, and ahead of them, in the dark between stars, the final gate waited. The end was near.